Hey everybody, you're listening to the Hisessions Hawaii podcast where we talk about everything local and beyond. I'm your host, John Yamasato, and joining me today is Mr. Devon Nekoba.
Took a pause there, dude.
I almost said Kyle
You almost
Sugar Girl.
said-
Yeah. Because I'm just so used to saying it.
Yeah, I know, but he's not here today.
Kyle's not here today. He's supposedly been exposed
Whatever.
again.
Yeah.
But I miss Kyle because, Devon comes right before we shoot. Not because of any fault of Devon's, but because he's got a schedule and he just makes it here for the shoots. Kyle always shows up early and we have about, 40 minutes to just talk story and see how everyone's doing. So today I was just sitting around by myself. There was no Kyle to bounce off. So Kyle, we hope you're feeling better.
I got here a little earlier.
Yeah, you did. So that was nice. Yeah. But hope you're feeling better, buddy. And
Whatever, dude.
You missed
he's
his
fine.
first.
I texted him just now and he's like, "Oh, good. No, nothing." Get your ass over here then.
Okay, of course.
Anyway.
But the other new thing is that we have this new camera that we're
Yeah.
using. So hopefully it works. Otherwise, we'll be using the phone
I know,
still.
and I'm so used to looking at that one. I'm always looking at that one instead of looking over here. Hi.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
gi-
and see,
it's
it's got a little
freaking
red light,
ginormous,
so we
dude.
know that it's recording too.
Oh, that's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Mister,
Oh yeah, that's
Can
right.
you go check? Can you go check? Can you
That's
go
right.
check?
So anyway, so Devon's here. Okay. Before we begin, let me remind our listeners of all the ways they can stay in touch with the show. There is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Hisessions. They can go to SoundCloud, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts to listen to the podcast. And finally, you can email us at hisessions@yahoo.com with any questions. If you'd like to help the show, get more music on the channel, you can go to patreon.com, Patreon, and donate. There you'll be more involved with the show, help figure out who's going to be on the show. We have people coming in for vacation in December. They're already planning on stopping by the podcast.
Really?
Yeah, so people do make
We are a
plans.
destination.
Yeah. So feel free to stop by. You get Ruger Market. We'll buy you lunch
Oh,
and and hang out with us.
bonus. Oh, and please make sure that you do the rating thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Make it 5 stars, please. If you're gonna do less than 5 stars, don't worry about it. But the 5 stars really help the algorithm find us and all that stuff.
Yeah, and promote us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can go to Kupu Kupu Landscaping, Landscape Architects. You can call Kevin Yokomura, 808-722-8685 for a free estimate on any landscaping needs, or you can go to kupukupulandscaping.com. Of course, Fort Ruger Market, which I ate just now. That's why my voice is a little bit raspy.
Yeah,
I'm trying to clear it, but yeah,
it's not working.
it is what it is. So thank you to Fort Ruger Market for the wonderful lunch. You can find Devon, Kumu 94.7, and we'll give Kyle a plug even though he's not here at highlifeclothing.com. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest, Mr. Jesse Macadangdang. Macadangdang?
You
Dang,
changed
dang.
Close enough. That's
I
close.
kinda- I did both, yeah?
Either way, I've heard it a lot of different ways. So
Macadangdang.
it's one of the best ways
Macadangdang.
I've heard it.
There you go.
Yeah. So Jesse works at PBS, and he's working on a documentary right now, which is pretty interesting about reggae music in Hawaii.
That's
and so
right.
that's what we wanted to talk about for the most part. But before we get into that,
Sure.
I had this question.
Mhm.
How does it feel to be immortalized forever in one of the most popular Hawaiian Christmas songs that has ever been recorded?
I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard it. Every day in elementary school. Don't know what you're talking about. No, it's cool. I met Frank in my adult years, and he's so apologetic.
Oh man, no, but it's
I
kind
know,
of an
it's-
honor, right?
I know,
it's
yeah, it is.
It is the opening line to that
Yes.
iconic song
Yeah.
that will live. Well, who knows? Maybe one day it'll get canceled, but I mean,
Well,
until
they tried to, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Everybody
until
just-
then,
I've tried
I mean,
it,
come on,
yeah.
it's a classic. Everybody loves it,
Yeah.
and so yeah, when I hear it, it just brings a smile to my
Yeah.
face.
It's better to have a memorable name, I think. So
Yeah, we've had Glenn
Whatever
Miyashiro
works.
on this podcast too, so we're batting pretty well.
Yeah, we just gotta find a fake Yanagi, and then we got it.
Yeah. Okay, so
Or
let's.
Abdullah Fatah.
I don't know that one.
You never heard Abdullah Fatah?
No.
that's another
He
Frank.
remembers it, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Some of
that's
the
another
Frank?
Frank
Oh,
song.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
Abdullah Fatah. Anyway,
Okay, so you're at PBS now, but you have a storied TV career. So let's talk about where you come from. So you didn't just start at PBS.
Yeah, no, I before PBS, I was at KHON as the marketing director. I've also produced a show called Sam Choi's in the Kitchen, which you were
I've
on.
been on. Yeah.
And
John didn't remember him when he said,
no, yeah,
we worked together. John was like, really?
Well,
it was one day,
it was one day. John
John meets
Canary
everybody.
does suck the air out of any room. That
He
he's
does. He really does.
in. So I remember John
In a
the
good
most.
way. In a good way, John.
Yeah, because he was.
Because he's going to be on the pod soon.
Yeah, he was just this bombastic character that comes in out of nowhere. I mean, he's more just I should say personality dynamic than Sam is. And he taught me about the bug assault, the salt
Right,
gun that kills
right.
flies.
That's right, yeah.
So I was more focused on that than I think production and everybody running around in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was at KHON. I did that. Before TV, it was just a passion of mine before I made it a profession. KHON for 7 years and now PBS for 2.
How has it changed over the years, TV? I mean, it's got to be completely different, right?
Oh, yeah. And I started at KHON in 2014, and that's already right in the middle of the YouTube era. So things are already kind of transitioning to digital, and now more so like TV itself, cable TV. It's, I don't want to say dying. It's evolving into something else. It's changing into something completely different. And yeah, TV, if you work in TV, like it's now we're kind of having an identity crisis.
Yeah, because everything's kind of seems like it's all just morphing together. Because now you film TV, but then you take that product and you put it on YouTube and you put it here, you put it there, and it's just everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So but was there a time where people thought like, oh, we don't need to do internet, we're TV, right? We're different.
Yeah.
But now it's all morphing together, is it?
Yeah, in a way, there's still people like that. We're just, TV is the king and internet is where you just put your bonus, your extra stuff. It's not considered a level medium when in reality it might have surpassed TV now with things like Netflix and Hulu and even YouTube. Like a lot of people are cord cutters now,
Yeah, my kids don't watch any terrestrial TV. Everything is TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, even in our house, we have that big TV, and I have Spectrum and DirecTV, and my kids get on there and they're watching Netflix. I'm like, hey man, they fall out of the stuff, out of the
I'm
programming.
paying all this money for
even things like Hulu have like TV where they have like channels that run linear,
Yeah.
So there's almost kind of no need for that traditional cable anymore.
Now PBS is a little different because you're a publicly funded company, and you guys are kind of to service Hawaii, and you do a lot of local programming.
Yes.
And so, how's it been with that move there from terrestrial TV? I guess you could say.
I think it's the same. It's any TV station is going to have to deal with the transition where people are not watching you on broadcast anymore, and we see it. I see our YouTube analytics, and it's the same. It's the same audience. It's the 40, 50, 60 and up that watch us on TV. They're watching us on YouTube now, so it's a transition that we're going through right now, where how we produce content, because it's different producing a 28-30 TV show as opposed to something like a 15-16 minute and untimed YouTube video. Different formats, different things to account for. So it's just trying to figure out how to do both, because we are a TV station, but we also have to acknowledge that that's changing. What that is changing.
Well, I've been pitching this to the team a lot for Hisessions over the years. Because nowadays we have these cameras that can run 24 hours a day and just continually stream, right?
Right.
And you can stream to YouTube. I'm like, we should do a telethon, like a Jerry Lewis. I'll be Jerry Lewis, and I'll invite guests on, and we'll just do like 24 hours straight, through the night, and then I'll have to untie my tie, and I'll be smoking a cigarette at the end, and try to like raise some money for the Hisessions channel, you know. But I think Just the will is not there from the crew. I don't think the camera guys and stuff are like
The crew, dude. As
Wait.
fundamentally lazy as you are, there is no way, dude.
What do you mean?
24
That I would
hours
do
of
it?
24
I
hours.
think I could do it. I could psych myself up to do it. But we'd have musical acts coming in, so we'd need the sound crew to set that up, and then I can't.
And then at the end, your voice would be all hash.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, thank you very much for giving.
Yeah, it'd be kind
Plus,
of
it
fun,
seems
right?
a little weird to be, asking money for high sessions.
Yeah,
Just
well, I
saying.
mean, we got to keep the lights on somehow. Because nowadays you can do live streams, people can donate, and we used to do live streams, 4 or 5
Twitch.
years ago
On Twitch, right?
Well, we were doing Twitch,
Yeah.
which is a little different than YouTube, but at the time we did Twitch because YouTube didn't have a monetary system set up for live streaming yet.
Right.
And so Twitch had that, but now YouTube kind of has gained that ability where people can donate directly, and maybe we'll do that in the future or whatever. But that's it. You guys can run with it if you want to do your PBS telethon on YouTube.
Yeah. The donation games change too, because we do those pledge events, we do the telethons
Yeah.
every few months. So
So it's because see, people nowadays they don't want to call
no,
and
yeah.
give a credit card number over a phone, but they'll sit there at their YouTube thing and put their credit card and just give a donation
Just
that way.
click
so,
the donate button. That's it.
yeah.
Much easier. Yeah.
So yeah, let me know if you want to do it.
Okay. I'm down. And
I
our-
just
and our
miss,
PS
I just
app,
miss
you know.
Sesame Street, man.
Oh,
It's still there.
I know. But it's not the same.
No.
Hmm.
It's still for kids.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
I
know
know.
what
It's
has
different.
And I'm
changed.
old. Huh?
They don't have Mick Jagger on singing about throwing away trash.
I remember more skits about stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of Muppets doing skits and things.
Yeah.
And now it's not that.
Oh, really?
It was very it was very non sequitur when it was Sesame Street before. There'd be sort of a through line,
Right.
Like let's be nice to people kind of
Right.
thing. But then in the middle of it, you'd have some Muppet character going mana mana doo doo, and you go like, what the hell? Like there was no educational benefit to it at all, other than you learned this dumb song that you could sing, and then you learn your ABCs.
Right.
Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what I mean? It's stuff that's stuck in my head to this day, and I'm 50 something years old. So, and I think my kids actually kind of missed that boat a little bit, because once,
Well, my kids like the Wiggles.
the Wiggles or Paw Patrol or whatever, but that part of it where they taught the kids stuff through either really funny jingles or cute little skits that were happening, right? That part is kind of gone. At least the Sesame Street that I watch. Either that or they're trying to keep the kids engaged all the time, so it's just constant. It's like ADHD on steroids and just stuff flashing at you all the time. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, Jesse, you got to fix that.
Okay. I'll get right on that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your. Is this a passion
Sure.
project or is this part of PBS?
I was part of PBS, and it kind of came out of just something that I have always thought about. Just reggae music in Hawaii is kind of, in my mind, not seen at the same level as traditional Hawaiian music, or when you think of the legendary musicians from the 70s and the 80s. It almost seems like if you were to read a history book about local Hawaiian music, it stops right at like 1989, and you don't really acknowledge the Fijis and the Butch Manos of that era. So it's something that I always thought about, and being at PBS and who are known for telling those types of stories about community and culture, that was something that they never did, and it's something that I've never seen. So it's kind of a natural. When I started thinking about a project to do, that was one of the top ones.
So how far along in the production are you?
We're still shooting interviews. We just shot Birthday Bash this past weekend.
Oh man, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy turnout for a Birthday Bash. And a lot of the older bands were there too.
Yep.
Which I was surprised to see, like bands from 20 years ago.
It's all coming back, dude.
Yeah.
10 Feet was there.
Yeah, Capena was there.
And it was there.
Wow.
3+ closed.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been the interesting thing. I think we were talking about it. Jess and I met up because we have a mutual friend, Jody. Shiroma, hi, Jody. Got to give her a shout out. But she's my classmate from high school. Well, she's younger. But she called me and said, hey, this guy Jesse, he's going to do this film or this documentary about Hawaiian reggae. He goes, and I thought you'd be good to talk to him. And I said, okay, me, I guess so. And I, because
There's some history in there.
well, I know, but I completely forget about it sometimes because I was there when it started, right?
Yeah.
And then right about when it started to really, really take off, I got fired from radio. So then I wasn't really in that, I wasn't in the field anymore. I was doing other stuff. So you kind of, I don't know, it's really easy to sort of get lost in it. But the funny thing is that now, all those bands that I came up with are all coming back and performing. So you'll see 10 Feet at a
Yep.
whole bunch of stuff. You'll see Pure Heart at
Yep.
things from time to time. You know what I mean? And it's really kind of cool. I mean, Hawaiian style band, dude.
Oh, that's right.
They were
And I
there
know
this
that-
weekend as well.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I know they're not super reggae, but they've got reggae influence on what they do, and they were fantastic. So all that old stuff is new, and I'm looking at 9,000 people, and it's 9,000 people there.
This
and
is at the
they're going
stadium,
nuts.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all outdoors, and it was
Yeah.
they were just going nuts. It was like 9,000 people, and
Yeah.
just cheering and
So
having a great time.
you were there. Was it was a younger crowd that were there? Or
Surprisingly, from what I saw, it was not younger. It was maybe
okay.
late 20s, early 30s. There wasn't a lot of like younger, because when I used to go to a birthday bash back in teens and the 20s, it was people my age. But now it seems like it's a little bit older nowadays.
I'm just wondering if like younger people just aren't interested in going to stuff like. I mean, they're just.
They want to sit there and watch TikTok videos
Right.
that last 15 seconds. They can't sit through a song, man.
They'd watch a stream of the birthday
Yeah.
bash, but not go.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Nah,
Like-
I'm gonna like stand up and it'd be hot and I gotta dance, and and that festival thing is what Birthday Bash was about. That's what
Right.
it was a communal.
So maybe
experience.
they just don't know. Like they've just never.
You guys don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of surprised walking around and like,
It's
Yeah.
not an older crowd, but not a really young crowd.
not a really young crowd. Not the concert kind of crowd that I would think would be at that event. No.
So when you went to do the filming, was it in order to get more interviews? Was it to, sort of say, because talk about like perfect timing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, wow, you're doing a thing on this, and oh look, it's the birthday bash.
Yeah. Yes. Like the main concerts for that type of music.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, I gotta shoot it.
Right.
I interviewed Penny Dean, and he was a performer. So
Nice.
a lot of it was shooting B-roll, and I'm planning to interview a lot of those guys as well later on. So it's good to get the performances and the B-roll.
Nice.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where like I was there in the semi beginning. Like who would you consider as the beginning? I mean, a lot of people point to Butch, as one of the first guys to do the Hawaiian reggae thing. But I mean, even like Peter Moon Band, back in the 70s, they were doing
Right.
Guava Jelly and stuff like that, and it wasn't reggae, but it had some reggae roots and stuff like that. But where was I going with this?
You can let him answer his.
Oh, okay. No. So I remember when the birthday bash first started, right? And it was called like Hawaiian music, right? And you had.
It was like the Hawaiian Jam, I think. was
Yeah,
the name.
that's right.
Yeah.
Hawaiian Jam. So there's Hawaiian Jam, and they would have like Hawaii Kane and
Right.
the early version of Capena
Yeah.
and whatnot. And it wasn't, I feel like wasn't looked at as national, like those bands weren't ready for the national spotlight, or it wasn't really reggae. So sometimes they'd bring in a reggae artist and to kind of like make it more legit and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But when you think about where reggae went from there to like Natural Vibrations and their innovation and how they, I mean, a lot of our reggae bands stand up to me on a national level. Some of these other bands like Big Mountain and all those kind of guys who used to come in. But is there a little bit of that when you interview these guys? That kind of feeling, or
it's just the evolution, because the pioneers are going to have that influence with ukulele. They're going to have the Hawaiian instruments in their style of reggae, which was known as Jawaiian. Now, not so much. You don't really use that word anymore. And it's just kind of evolved with the times to where now, it's hard to tell. You can listen to a mainland reggae artist or a Jamaican reggae artist, and the production level is on par. The instrumentation is similar, except some of them do their songs in Olelo, Hawaii.
What was the draw for you for reggae music? Because I mean, no offense, but Jesse Macadangdang.
Yeah.
I mean, Nekoba, Yamasato. People look at us and they go, "Oh, those guys would totally be into reggae music."
No, none of us are Jamaican. Most local reggae artists are not. It wasn't so much about reggae music. Like, I would listen to all local music. I honestly would listen to Pure Heart. I think I told you this when we shot.
Yeah.
Sam Choi back in the day. But it was more so just like what I said before, is that you'd hear Kalapana, C&K, all of these bands, and then we'd stop talking about it, like Peter Moon, and then who after that, 90s and the 2000s, like who Brother is, and then what it's Fiji. There's contemporary also, Pure Heart, but I think because of what reggae was, and it's kind of the polarizing nature of it, that there's some hesitation to consider it in that line of local music.
It's interesting because it did take a long time for Hokus to have a reggae award as well, right?
Right. Yeah, and then Brother Walter kind of blew it open with that first album, so they had no choice. But it was more so kind of like it was more to maybe give these guys their flowers. You give them your flowers while you're still around, and some of these guys are not around anymore, and so I think they deserve to be in the conversation when you talk about legendary musicians, artists, local artists, modern local Hawaiian music. Yeah.
So when the idea came to you, and I'm trying to walk a line because we don't want to have him give away so much about the documentary. About the documentary that people are like, "Oh, what I gotta watch this thing for?"
Yeah,
but I think the interviews alone are going to be worth the price of admission on this thing. Yeah. But for you, as far as is there a through line that you thought of where you're like, okay, we're going to start from here, we're going to go to here, we're going to do some interviews. Was that kind of what you were thinking?
It initially started with just the explosion of local reggae music, which would be to say Jawaiian, and the word Jawaiian, and kind of the I don't know if it's controversy, I guess you could call it, around that term and that style of music. It wasn't mainstream for sure, but it was very, very popular, and it became mainstream over the years, despite being divisive and polarizing. So it was going to focus on that era, just the start of it. But it kind of quickly became apparent that you can't really just look at that one era, because then it evolved to the 90s, and then you have the bands like Ho'onua and Fiji, and then you have the Green, and now you have Maoli.
Who is just straight up reggae. They're not. They're not. You can't consider them Jawaiian or any kind of stuff. It's just reggae music.
Ukla the Mock. This is just reggae, so
very roots reggae and their stuff. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so it just became kind of just the story of all reggae in Hawaii from the start, from the 70s and the 80s, really.
So you're gonna take them all the way up to now, then?
Yeah.
Like this is where reggae is now.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I gotta say, when you know, the Green, as they became popular, at that time I wasn't listening to too much radio. Sorry, Devin.
No.
But one night I'm driving home in my car, and I hit KCCN just to see what's up, and then the Green came on, but I didn't know who it was. I was like, man, this got to be a mainland artist because this is too good. This is so good, you know, reggae. And then they're like, oh, this is the Green. I'm like, oh, dang, this is the Green. I'm like, oh, that's great. That people nowadays are like, the level of production is so good that you can't even tell whether, because before you could kind of tell, like, this is kind of local sounding. This is
It's the same keyboard.
mainland.
Gink. Gink.
Yeah.
Gink.
Yeah.
Like, yep, there it is.
But probably the same guy playing on all the records too, you know.
But at the same time, I do kind of miss that Hawaiian local,
Right.
Because they used to throw like slack key licks and ukulele licks into especially bands like Capena, right? Mm-hmm. And that's to me what made it so attractive when I got into local music, was this idea that, oh, there's something to play along to. I can sing along with it, like versus I can take my ukulele, and I guess you can still do that with reggae music, but you can't play exactly like them, right? Because it is real reggae. You need electric guitars and synthesizers and things like that. Yeah. So, yeah, everything evolves, I guess. I shouldn't be too old man John
No,
and pine for the days past. You know.
I mean, it'll come back around. It'll come back around. I think it always does.
I hope so.
We'll hear ukulele reggae music again.
I mean, it kinda is already, yeah.
OP Pickers were at the birthday bash.
Yeah.
So you know.
Well, the hard part too, though, I think now is that it's harder to gather a local. Before it was very clear, right? You would gather a local following, and then you would try to push out from there. You'd expand out from your big local following, right? That's how Fiji did it, right? He blew up here. He's the man here.
He was everywhere, yeah.
Then mainland records, mainland people started looking at him like this could be something. Started going up to California, did his thing up there. Now you start off. I mean, look at Mike Love, right? So he's a friend of the show. He's been on our show. He's started from Hawaii, and just boom, worldwide, just at the same time. It wasn't like he grew here first and then kind of transitioned. He was just everywhere all at once, like the movie.
Yeah. Part of it is the music, as the evolution of the music. You know, it doesn't sound localized to Hawaii. It sounds like it came from, you know, the mainland or wherever.
Yeah.
And so I think it's translatable right away. But there's also social media. You know, you can promote yourself everywhere immediately. You know, it does. You know, you don't have to wait for word of mouth to get out of Hawaii for the West Coast to know who you are. There's also that thing where there are a lot of Polynesians playing reggae on the West Coast already.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, Common Kings.
I know. That's funny. I discovered Common Kings within the last year. My friends, a lot of people listen to them, talk about them all the time. They play on all the radio stations here. And then I listened to them and I went, oh, these guys are really good. And then I thought they were from here, and they're not.
Yeah.
Right? There have been a couple bands that have been like that, where I'll hear a song and go, oh, that's a band from Hawaii. And they're not a band from Hawaii. They're from California or wherever, or San Diego, San Diego, LA or something, from those scenes. Right. And it sounds like stuff that was created here.
Yep.
Well, I think we've had a little bit of an impact, right, on the West Coast especially.
Yeah. Especially the West Coast, yeah, because those guys that you mentioned, Fiji, J Boog, they're all touring across, not just the West, even touring across the United States. It's just grown into something that's not really only for us anymore. I think part of it is how the music sounds. It sounds like it could play on the radio in the mainland.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of it too that's still you know it's one of our guys, you know. Yeah.
Oh, almost forgot when I did the interview and we were talking. I forgot to mention one person that has been very important as a founding father of the whole reggae scene. That'd be Brother Nolan.
Oh yeah.
We finished the interview. He left, and I went, oh no!
Yeah.
And I felt really bad because I know, because I mean, everybody knows Nolan.
Yeah,
And
man.
I think
He was way before
Oh, he
everything.
was so before a lot of people. He started playing reggae music, and we were going, "What is that sound?"
Yeah.
Right, like Big Ship and
yeah,
Coconut Girl and all that. It had all these elements that we went, "Wow, what the hell is that?" So I mean, forgive me, Nolan, for not giving him props on that, because he just did it quietly. He didn't,
Yeah.
you know, and he also incorporated the Hawaiian-ness of it
Yeah.
into the music, which is amazing.
Yeah, he also played a lot of stuff that nobody was really,
Yeah.
like jazz. He played a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of different genres, and he was the only guy doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bye Bye Pua Lane,
Right.
and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff. Yeah. He's great. I always tell people, man, if you get to see Nolan live in concert, you should go, because he's the definition to me of entertainer.
Yeah.
Like, his songs are great and all, and we've all heard, but to see him live and the banter and how he talks about things and
Yeah.
stuff, that's what really makes him special to me. You know?
Yeah. So were you, were there did you see everybody live when you were younger?
When I was younger,
You mentioned like Fiji.
Yeah, I saw
Mana'o.
those guys. Yeah, I would go to birthday bash all the time. All
Oh,
those
okay.
guys. Yeah.
Was there a performance that stood out for you? Was there a moment that stood out for you?
It was more like we mentioned about the
Because
birthday
you were
bash.
like 10 when this song came out.
Sure, yeah, I was 10. Yeah, we had to leave early because bedtime. It was like we said, it was more like the environment, the camaraderie. So it was more just being on the lawn, because it was at the Shell, right?
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
stadium.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you're not sitting down at the stadium.
no. So being with friends and family, and it was more so that, and having that music kind of be like the underscore to just having good times with people that you know. Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody gets on the reggae train, and
Right.
yeah, those are some good times.
Yeah.
Doing the conga line thing.
Yeah, or the jockey move and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back in those days, I was still like, I was young, so I have legit
Thanks.
stories.
Yeah.
I had to go with my dad, so we'd be in the seats. He didn't want to sit on the lawn. It was a few years later that I got to sit on the lawn. But yeah, those are some good memories, man.
Yeah.
And I just remember like dudes beefing on the lawn, all stuff like that. That was
Yeah.
one of the downsides.
Yeah.
So I was glad I was on the stage area, man. Get to just watch all this stuff happening. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
I don't think there were any fights this weekend. I didn't see any.
I think
Yeah.
people are more mellow nowadays or
I think so.
something. I don't know.
And they were
Something
older
is-
audience too, so
Yeah,
it had
it's
something
also
to do with it.
asphalt, man. You get into a fight and you roll
Oh,
around.
That's
true,
That's
too.
not gonna work out well.
That's
for
true.
you.
Yeah, rolling down the grass is a lot different.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. So you think there's still a viable audience for all this stuff out there? And I mean, there must be if you can have $9,000 people at the birthday bash. Shoot, I forgot to silence my phone.
Yep, there it goes. It's okay.
All right, Devon,
Yes.
keep the interview going. I'm gonna go turn off my phone.
John is still actively working, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 9,000 people at the birthday bash, like this recent birthday bash.
Yeah.
And we remember the ones at the Shell where it was packed with at least that many people.
Yeah.
And all the wonderful smells that were coming up from there. But was there anybody that surprised you during the interview where and you don't have to get into specifics, but if there was something where you went, I didn't even think about that. Because you've interviewed like 20, 30 people now?
I've interviewed a bunch of people so far, yeah. Penny Dean brought up something, and it's kind of like it's more about the business of trying to make it as a local musician, as a not just reggae, just as a local musician, as a musician really in general. And he was saying that a lot of artists, they get into it and they just want to play, and they don't think about how viable that is financially. And he was like, if you want to do it, by all means, come right in and try, but you gotta handle your business, and you're gonna find out, like, if you're not hitting the pavement, if you're not touring, you're not recording, you're not constantly doing it, it's gonna be hard. It's a lot of these guys keep jobs on the side, and then people don't realize that it's hard to be a full-time musician, especially here in Hawaii. And that's something I think maybe a lot of listeners don't realize when they go out to these concerts and they buy the albums. It's like, some of these guys don't just do this to support themselves. It's hard,
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I thought about that even back in their day. I thought about them specifically, and I've always been kind of a nerd, and
Kind of?
yeah, always been a nerd.
Right.
There you go.
But anyway, so in the Hawaii music business, I mean, everybody's super nice, and I think we all have a real passion to see people succeed. Like, I've never felt like, oh, just because somebody else succeeds doesn't mean that I can't succeed. It's always been kind of this like, we all lift each other together.
Right.
For the most part. There's a couple of people that won't have names, but
Right.
most everyone, and especially the guys from Natural Vibes, they've always been super nice and stuff. But I remember one time we had the Sea Life Park thing and we were playing, and then I was thinking about, because this is pre-internet, right? And I'm watching Natural Vibes, I'm like, okay, Natural Vibes do these great big shows, but how many great big shows are there in a year?
Yeah.
Versus like for Pure Heart, we did weddings, we could do like stage shows, we can do birthday parties, and we can do big shows. So we're always busy, right? And from a local perspective.
Yeah.
But for them, it's like, before you could go tour the West Coast or stuff, I'm like, man, I don't know how these guys can do it, because there's just not enough of these kind of events.
Yeah.
And yeah, now they can, because I think like the J-Boogs and the Greens and all, they kind of figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in those days, man, I remember one time just sitting there thinking about that, like how does this work out for them, especially because they got like 10 guys in the band.
Yeah, only get the three of you,
Yeah,
so it's a lot easier,
right?
right?
And
Like,
even for
split three
which is
ways.
the three of us was kind of, it's not like we were making a killing, so yeah. So and then years later, I did a career day at Kaiser High School, and it was me and why am I having the biggest brain fart of all time? Wayne, the guitar player.
Oh,
right.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he talked about harmonizing in a band, like and stuff. And I busted out this like, when you sell a CD, you get this amount, and so you need to sell this many CDs. I think the kids were like super bored. But then after, he's like, oh man, I wish I knew that when I saw my deal. Yeah. So it's like, these guys back in those days, especially, it must have been really tough for them.
Yeah. Especially if you have 10 guys in the group.
Yeah.
And now, when they tour, you take everything to the West Coast, and you're touring. Somebody else I interviewed had mentioned that they were managing one of the younger groups, and I forget the artist, but he had to teach them how to deal with merch. Do you drop it into where you going next? Do you take it with you? And it's something that like, it's like on a scale that I never heard, like local music on, like, touring the West Coast, and you're on a bus and you gotta like drop your merch at the next city. Like, this is like big time stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about for these bands. Yeah. Huh.
So, musically, are you kind of all over the place? Are you mostly into reggae? Is it?
I wouldn't say I'm mostly into reggae. I really like it. I appreciate it a lot, and I've listened to a lot of it just by virtue of growing up here. But I would say if I had to listen to one, it'd be traditional Hawaiian music. That's the thing I always go to. I can always just put it on. I can listen to it whenever. I like all kinds of music. It's kind of like the cop-out kind of answer. I like everything, but I mean, it's true. I listen to everything, but the one that I can always just come back to is Huyohana, really. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's pivot a little bit, because I do want to hear about this Sam Choice show a little bit.
Okay.
And we so the question I asked you that I wanted to do it on camera was, what is the difference for TV being a producer versus an executive producer?
Yeah, I think it's different for every project, honestly.
Okay.
I don't think there's like a set thing. As an executive producer, you do this, and as a producer, you do that. I think the executive producer, the main difference is they oversee everything. Yeah, and this oversees what the producer does. So as executive producer, what's different too, because at KHON, I wasn't just the executive producer. I was also directing. I also edited. I also
my God.
shot.
Oh, man, dude.
You know, it's you got to do everything. You know.
Wow.
So my job as executive producer was way different from like a Hollywood executive producer would be. Sometimes the executive producer is just like the person with the money, and they hire everyone.
See, that's what I always thought was the executive producer, the guy who pays for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they have the idea. Sometimes they have the creative.
Okay.
But they're the ones that facilitate it, whatever that means for whatever project you're on. That the executive producer is the one that facilitates the making of the stuff, to me. And then the producer is just a level below that. Like you have line producers, you have the producers in charge of scheduling things, you have producers in charge of
I see.
gear, you know. So.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Yeah, because from a music standpoint, usually your producer is the person who takes the, artist comes with an idea for a song, and you're the one that goes like, okay, here's how we're going to structure this song. Like this one should be an acoustic one, or we're going to do a big band on this, or we should get this guy to come play guitar, whatever. They kind of like help make a sound out of it. But a TV, there's so many produced because there's so many pieces beyond just the product itself.
Yeah, and a TV producer can do that as well. Shoot it this way and that way. They can have a hand in creative in that same way.
And okay, so was the Sam Choi show your idea?
No,
Okay,
Sam came in with that idea.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And he said, "Bruh, I can go to anybody's house, look in their fridge, and make something."
He can.
But that's what he pitched, though. Is that how it came through?
Pretty much, yeah. He had brought another. He had a guy with him that he was doing the creative with, and they had shot like a couple pilots for YouTube, and that's what they brought to it. They just went to friend's house and they did it that way, and so KHON picked it up. Yeah.
And then, so where does John Veneri come in? Because so you guys figure.
Well, we said we were doing a food show.
What's
and
John
then,
doing? Just kidding, John.
Yeah, we just said Sam Choi is coming and he's going to be doing a cooking show, and he was like, "Oh, I want to be a part." No.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That sounds like John, actually.
No. It just, we felt like there was a better dynamic with Sam and John, as you saw.
Yeah.
Like they're two kind of like
they play
opposites,
off each
but they
other
play
really
off
well.
each other. Yeah. So that's how it became. John is kind of like the play-by-play, I guess you would say, and Sam is just doing his thing.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want the roles to be switched, where John is cooking and
Although
Sam is sitting there going, "So, what you gonna make, John?"
although that might be a good show. Well, yeah. But yeah, it's hard.
But maybe if you're gonna do that one, make sure it's at like Sam's house.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Sam's face
you
just
do it
is
and you
horrified.
switch it.
Oh, actually,
Because-
I'm sorry. We did do that.
Did you do that? Oh,
We went
wow.
to Sam's house, but Sam's son did the cooking, not John.
No, let's make John do it.
Yeah.
Make John do it.
No.
And
I'm
I
gonna
guess
be in so much trouble when he comes with the pot.
it does help too, because John's going to move the show forward in an interesting way, no matter who because
Right.
you got you do Frank DeLima one day, his
Yeah.
fridge, he's super interesting, and then you go to some person that doesn't really like to talk too much or
Yeah.
whatever, then you got John at least kind of pushing the thing along.
Yeah, that was the point of it too. It's hard for Sam to be in the mindset of like he's trying to figure out what to do, and he's cooking, and he can't really host at the same time. You have to have somebody who's thinking about moving that forward and getting from point A to point B to point C. So adding another host for Sam,
How many cuts do you have to make when you do it? Because they gotta get there. They gotta open the fridge. They gotta, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was shot documentary style, meaning we didn't plan anything. We showed with a crew. Most times we just went off a single picture of what the kitchen looked like.
Really?
And we get there and it's like way smaller. And we thought, yeah. And we just could be. It was important because the whole point of the show is to teach you how not to waste food and how to so it had to be real. It had to be in a real house, because if it's staged and it's set, you don't learn anything.
Look at our lovely place
Yeah.
that we just showed up to.
Yeah.
Nobody knew we were gonna be here.
So who had the least amount of food?
That would be Jamie O'Brien.
Oh, Jay.
Oh, that was
Jamie
quick.
O'Brien. I don't know if they live
that's
in
makes
that
sense.
house most of the time because it had literally nothing. So we had to go Foodland, Pupukea, to go pick up
really?
some food. Yeah, it was like one sausage, like a it was like impossible to make stuff.
So even Sam is tapping out like, bruh, no can, dude. We
There
got-"
was nothing in there.
I thought Shannon Scott had only a little bit in his.
Ooh, Shannon.
Shannon had a good amount.
He had a good
Yeah,
amount. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Someone told me bad information then.
His was all right. I can't remember what we made. I think there was a bread pudding we made.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
man.
Sam can just make whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who watch the show, I was on the show,
Yeah.
and I can guarantee you that there is no like Sam just came and looked at the thing, and he just started making stuff, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I was just super nervous because I don't cook, so
At all.
at all. So I think at one time he's like, "Oh, I want you over there, and I want you to shred the chicken." I'm like,
How do I do that?
How do I do that? Yeah, it was like the most easiest thing. He's like, just break it up with your hands. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
problem.
we had worse. We had a guy who didn't know how to. He was making roux. So roux is just you stir the flour in the pot, right?
Yeah.
He just like this. And Sam had to take it over. It's like the simplest job. So. Yeah,
So anyway, I mean, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the show, maybe we back up a little bit and explain to them
Oh, yeah.
how the show works, because like, the three of us know the show, but just in case you haven't watched it, it really is fascinating viewing.
Yeah. Wait, is it still somewhere where people can find it online somewhere?
I assume that they're still posting it on YouTube. I don't know. I think it's still online. I think it's still.
So it's Sam's
don't know.
Kitchen, right?
Sam Choi's in the kitchen. Is
Sam
the-
Choi's in the kitchen.
Yes.
Okay, Deb, why don't you give a brief
So
explanation?
basically, it was Sam Choi and John Veneri. Sam Choi, of course, being a world famous chef. John Veneri is famous for being on TV. And no, I'm kidding. And being a UH football player. But he has been on TV and the whole thing. Anyway, the two of them go to somebody's house. Sam opens the fridge and makes stuff.
Whatever's in the fridge.
Whatever's
That's
in the
all
fridge.
he's got.
You don't even have to. Yeah, they just come over to the house, open a fridge, and he goes, "Okay, we're gonna make fried rice, or we're gonna make lumpia, we're gonna make whatever." He just finds something, and it's unusual in that it's real. It's like chopped. It happens there, in the kitchen as it's going, and John can verify, and the kind Jesse can verify as well that they don't doctor things. They
No.
pretty much go,
We
well,
don't-
unless it's really bad, like only get one sausage in a fridge,
Yeah.
and then they got to do something.
We
about it.
had to do that just that one time because there was literally nothing in there. Like one
But
sausage.
at least, Jamie wasn't BSing,
No.
Like he didn't like prep. Because I know Calais they knew Sam was coming,
Yeah.
so they had certain things that they kind of, that they had in the fridge. I mean, they didn't completely prep, but they had the crab, like I said, that they caught.
Yeah.
So like, let's see what he does with this, so they put it in the fridge.
And that is maybe the one thing that you could consider like not authentic is families know we're coming. We don't just knock on the door and show up. So in anticipation, they'll put stuff in their fridge, like ahi or like fresh stuff. And so Sam will purposely kind of be like, he'll go for the older looking things, the leftover stuff.
Which one get green on top?
Yeah.
Because otherwise
But
every
I
episode
mean-
would be poke. You know what I mean?
I mean, our episode, he had these greens, but there was no dressing for anything. And then he used the juice from the crab and some
Right.
fruits, and he made some kind of salad dressing out of that.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
I was like, whoa, dang. And it was good.
Yeah.
It was
I
good.
was like, jeez, that's pretty crazy. He made salad dressing out of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not, he's super talented. I mean, I was
legit.
super impressed
He's been
with him.
cooking for a long time, man.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's good. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's got all these books and stuff. Nice
Right.
guy, by the way, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was great. All right. Well,
Yeah.
when should we expect this documentary to come out on the reggae stuff?
I'm aiming for the end of the year.
Okay.
Wow.
A lot of bands are on tour, so it's
Oh.
going to be just if I can get everything shot.
Is there anybody specific that you are looking to get that you just have not been able to get in touch with yet?
Fiji is like the main one.
Oh,
you
okay,
know.
okay.
I know a few people that know him, but that's the one that. I mean, I don't know how I can tell this story without talking to him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and Butch Halimana's from what I understand is a ghost. Like he's just like nobody can help me. Even people have performed with him, even longtime musicians from that era.
Sunway,
but I
actually,
don't know,
who's performed me, actually.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, Sunway.
Who's on with me. She actually knew him personally, played in his band, and I don't think she even knows how to get a hold of him.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are the two main ones I'm trying to
That
get.
adds to
Okay,
his
Fiji,
mystique.
if you're watching, Butch.
Yeah, if anybody out there knows Fiji,
Please.
I do not have his number on in my cell phone.
Because he used to
But-
change his number all the time.
I can
Him and,
imagine.
David,
Yeah, probably.
David Daniels. Those guys would change their names.
Oh, yeah,
their
yeah,
numbers every 2 seconds.
I also have to talk to Davey D. I emailed him
Okay.
and left me on red. So if Davey's watching,
Okay,
can you?
don't worry. We'll call him right after this.
Okay.
Yeah, Davey,
Tell him to get on it,
we
yeah.
can help.
Yeah, Dave would be able to.
Is Fiji
Dave
even
would-
here? Was he here for the birthday bash?
He was not,
No, 'cause
and
he's been in California, right?
he may be based in California now. I'm not sure.
He's having some health stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, before we go, Jesse, we have our last question, which we ask all of our guests, since this is technically a musical podcast. If you were stranded on a desert island and had to stay there for the rest of time, all of eternity, and you could only take 3 albums with you to listen to musically for the rest of time,
Yeah.
what would those 3 albums be?
It cannot be best ofs.
Oh,
You old, so I
think that
go.
would
You
be,
older, so I can give you that rule.
I cannot be best of. Dang. So let's say Pure Heart 1, Pure
Oh my-
Heart 2,
oh my
and,
God.
Pure Heart 2.5. let's just say.
Okay, all right. It's a serious
Now we
question,
know you
Jesse.
like-
Serious question.
Oh man, three albums. I say I listen to everything. So
Yeah, I know. I had a feeling this is
Exactly.
going to be kind of a hard question for you.
let's just go 3 local music albums. Let's narrow it down then.
Okay.
I would say Tropical Hawaiian Day would probably be one.
Yeah. Kyle Goodwood.
Let's see. I can't use Best of Hui Ohana, so I'll use Hui Ohana Live in Tahiti, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
and
classic.
and
It's the one to Come On Over, right? It was on that one.
yeah, and oh man,
Now,
That's a
Hui
tough
Ohana-
I'm
question.
actually
That's a
enjoying
tough
watching
question.
him roll through his Rolodex and his.
Hui Ohana, the one that they're like cartoon drawn on the front. It's kind of blue cover.
Yeah.
That's a best of.
I think that was Best of Volume 2.
Oh,
the
I see.
yellow cover is Volume 1, and that
Oh.
would have been on my Best of Volume 1 would have been one of my choices.
Yeah, I like that too.
Um,
I think I tell this story a lot, but I bought that Best of Volume 2, and I was playing it in my car. I didn't know who Hui Ohana was. I'm just barely getting into high school or something like that. I was like, man, this is really good. More bands should play like this band. You know, like not thinking like these are like the greatest musicians to come out of Hawaii or whatever. It's not that easy to just play like the Hui Ohana. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Man, why don't more people do this?
Right.
This sounds really good.
Yeah, Ledward is one of my favorite, not just local musicians, but all time. Like,
Yeah.
if you can make a guitar look like a toy when you play it,
Yeah.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, what is the third?
It is funny, you know, a lot of those Slacky guys, because I have been able to spend time with them. Ledward's one, George Kuo's one, Dennis, always playing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you backstage, they're playing.
Mhm.
You're at the hotel, they're playing. You're on stage, they're playing. You know.
Yep.
I just never could get into that mind frame, and that's why they're the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Who's number 3? Man, I should pick a reggae one, huh?
Yeah.
Sure.
That would make sense. Right?
Okay.
Some dance music.
We'll go reggae block party then.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Wow, all right. Okay. All right, man. Well, when your documentary is done, please come back.
Oh, I will.
We want to promote it and get it out there, and it's
Thanks.
pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited to see this thing.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Devon, anything you got coming up?
No.
Oh, I actually have something on
Oh.
Saturday. So if you guys are in the Eva area, at the place with the wave, the wave tank thing in Eva Beach
the
now.
wave pool, yeah.
There's a restaurant there. I can't remember what it is, but I'm playing there.
The lineup?
Saturday. The lineup, yes. I'm going to be at the lineup 6 to 8 on Saturday with Herbo to Junior. So please come by and say hello.
I'm sorry, but I love you, but that's Eva.
Yeah, I know.
That's far.
Herb is like, he calls me up. Hey, you mind driving out to Eva? I'm like, well, what day is it? He's like, Saturday, the 5th. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, because at least it's not going to be traffic,
I guess. Well,
I'm like, do I have to bring sound?
You're going out to that thing.
Yeah, but it should be all right. I said, do I have to bring sound? No. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. so we'll be there on Saturday.
Okay.
I live in Eva, so maybe I'll.
There you go.
Yeah. So come on down. This will be our first time, so maybe we're supposed to play there like once a month or something. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Till next week. Thanks, everybody. Kyle, we'll see you later. And have a great week.
Just